Number 16, 1959's 1960 Chevrolet El Camino. Opening our countdown at number 16 is the Chevrolet El Camino. Chevrolet's first attempt at combining a passenger car with a cargo bed was built on the full-size Impala platform, with engines ranging from a 235 cubic inch inline-six to a 348 cubic inch V8, producing up to 315 horsepower. On paper, the concept seemed logical, a vehicle that could serve both family and work duties. In practice, it satisfied neither group. The cargo bed measured just 77 inches in length, making it genuinely impractical for contractors or any serious hauling purpose. Car buyers rejected it for lacking rear seats and having truck-like proportions, while truck buyers viewed it as a product that couldn't handle real workloads. Sales confirmed the disconnect. Only 22,246 units moved across both model years combined. Chevrolet quietly discontinued the nameplate in 1960. It returned in 1964 on the mid-size Chevelle platform and finally found its audience. But this first generation stands as a clear example of what happens when a vehicle tries to be everything at once and ends up being nothing in particular. Number 15, 1957-1958 Chrysler Windsor. At number 15, the Chrysler Windsor. The 1957 redesign brought dramatic tail fins and a striking low profile that turned heads in every showroom. Under the hood sat a 354 cubic inch V8 generating 285 horsepower, riding on a 126 inch wheelbase. On paper, it looked like a genuine step forward for Chrysler. In reality, a rushed production schedule created quality problems that were impossible to ignore. Body panels rusted severely within the first year due to inadequate corrosion treatment. The advanced unibody construction developed water leaks and persistent squeaks within months. Paint quality was poor enough that vehicles appeared several years old after a single season. Consumer Reports took the rare step of refusing to recommend any 1957 Chrysler product. What should have been a defining moment for the brand became one of its most damaging chapters. Number 14, 1975's 1980 AMC Pacer. At number 14, the American Motors Pacer. American Motors promoted this as the first wide small car, featuring a distinctive bubble-shaped greenhouse and an unusually broad body for its class. The base 3.8-liter inline-six delivered just 100 horsepower for a vehicle weighing over 3,000 pounds. The optional 5.8-liter V8 offered more output, but destroyed any hope of acceptable fuel economy. The design introduced some genuinely unusual choices. The passenger door was 4 inches longer than the driver's side, and the massive glass area turned the cabin into an oven in summer while remaining poorly insulated in winter. Electrical faults, vacuum line failures, and persistent carburetor problems kept owners frustrated and repair shops occupied. AMC discontinued the Pacer in 1980 after selling approximately 280,000 units, far short of projections. The car became a cultural reference point for automotive misfires, a reputation that has followed it ever since. Number 13 goes to the Ford Mustang II, proof that even the most respected nameplates can be seriously compromised. Ford took one of America's defining performance cars and rebuilt it on the economy-focused Pinto platform, stripping away virtually everything that had made the original Mustang iconic. The base engine was a 2.3-liter four-cylinder producing 88 horsepower. When the 5.0-liter V8 arrived for 1975, it managed only 140 horsepower, less than half what Mustangs had produced just 5 years earlier. Even with V8 power, reaching 60 miles per hour required more than 10 seconds. Handling was defined by excessive body roll and imprecise steering. Interior plastics cracked and faded under normal use. Despite commercial success, over 1 million units sold, and a Motor Trend Car of the Year award in 1974, the Mustang II genuinely damaged the nameplate's performance identity for years. It was a financial win built on the back of a legacy it couldn't live up to. At number 12, the early Chevrolet Corvair. GM's rear-engine economy car was an ambitious attempt to challenge the Volkswagen Beetle, featuring independent suspension at all corners and a lightweight air-cooled flat-six engine displacing 140 cubic inches and producing 80 horsepower. The engineering concept was genuinely forward-thinking, but cost-cutting decisions created significant real-world problems. The swing-axle rear suspension, combined with a rearward weight bias of roughly 60%, made the car prone to severe oversteer in emergency situations. The absence of a front anti-roll bar amplified these tendencies. Different tire pressure requirements, 15 psi front, 26 psi rear, confused drivers accustomed to uniform pressures. Ralph Nader's 1965 book highlighted these shortcomings and sparked over 100 accident-related lawsuits. GM discontinued the Corvair in 1969. A safety board later determined the 1960 to 1963 models were no more dangerous than contemporaries, but that conclusion arrived too late to matter. Number 11 is the Ford Pinto. Beyond its well-documented safety controversy, this compact was simply a mediocre vehicle in nearly every measurable way. The base 1.6-liter four-cylinder offered 75 horsepower, with optional engines stepping up to a 2.0-liter four and a 2.3-liter unit. The fuel tank, mounted behind the rear axle with minimal structural protection, could rupture and ignite in rear-end collisions at speeds above 25 miles per hour. Ford's internal cost-benefit analysis, which concluded that lawsuit settlements would cost less than a recall, became one of the most widely studied corporate ethics failures in American business history. Separate from the safety scandal, the Pinto's construction quality was genuinely poor. Rattles appeared almost immediately, rust developed within 2 years, and ride quality was noticeably choppy. Despite selling over 3 million units at around $2,000, the Pinto's name became permanently attached to corporate negligence in the public memory. Coming in at number 10, the Chevrolet Vega. GM launched this compact in 1971 as a direct answer to the growing Japanese import market, with a base price around $2,000 and fuel-conscious packaging. The 2.3-liter four-cylinder engine produced between 70 and 110 horsepower, depending on configuration. GM engineers developed an innovative aluminum block with silicon-etched cylinder bores that eliminated the need for traditional iron liners, a genuinely forward-looking approach. That technology proved disastrous in real-world conditions. Engines overheated regularly, warping cylinder heads and burning through oil at alarming rates. Most Vegas required significant engine work before reaching 50,000 miles. Rust compounded the problems. Despite GM's stated corrosion protection measures, fenders and quarter panels deteriorated while vehicles were still under warranty. Consumer Reports placed it among the worst vehicles they had ever evaluated. At number 9, the 1961 Chrysler Newport. Positioned as Chrysler's entry-level full-size offering, the Newport arrived carrying the same awkward reverse slant fins found across the brand's entire lineup that year, a styling direction that buyers were already beginning to reject. While General Motors and Ford were actively modernizing their designs, Chrysler doubled down on fins that looked dated before the cars even reached showroom floors. Available power plants included the 361 and 383 cubic inch V8s, both mechanically competent units that couldn't compensate for the Newport's broader shortcomings. Quality control was a persistent concern throughout the model year. electrical systems failed with regularity, and body panels, particularly around the complex fin structures, were prone to rapid corrosion. Assembly consistency fell well below what buyers expected at that price point. The Newport depreciated sharply as the market's rejection became clear, and the model became a symbol of Chrysler's reluctance to acknowledge shifting consumer preferences at a moment that stubbornness cost them dearly. Number 8 is the 1962 Plymouth Fury, the result of one of the most consequential miscalculations in American automotive history. Chrysler's leadership decided to significantly downsize their full-size lineup based on market research that proved deeply flawed, at the precise moment when their competitors were moving in the opposite direction. The resulting car looked visually unfinished and poorly proportioned, and traditional Plymouth buyers walked straight to rival showrooms without hesitation. Beyond the styling controversy, the 1962 Fury suffered from genuine structural and quality concerns. The new unibody construction introduced weaknesses that led to body flex, persistent rattles, and water infiltration. Rust developed rapidly, electrical reliability was inconsistent, and the overall feel of the vehicle was noticeably less substantial than what GM and Ford were offering at comparable price points. Chrysler was forced to rush a full redesign for 1963 to stop the sales collapse. Most 1962 Furies didn't survive long, not because they were cherished, but because they couldn't outlast their own shortcomings. At number 7, the Oldsmobile Delta 88, specifically the diesel-powered version. GM moved quickly to introduce diesel power into passenger cars in the late 1970s, and the results were catastrophic. The 350 cubic inch diesel V8 was developed from an existing gasoline architecture, with identical head bolt patterns and fasteners designed for the lower compression ratios of a gas engine. Under diesel's significantly higher cylinder pressures, those head bolts stretched and failed, causing blown head gaskets, coolant infiltration into cylinders, and complete engine destruction. GM also omitted water separators from the fuel system, despite water-contaminated diesel being a known issue in the field, leading to widespread corrosion in injection pumps and fuel lines. Timing chain wear retarded engine performance over time, producing rough running, excessive smoke, and difficult cold starts. Repair costs frequently exceeded $2,000 in 1970s dollars. At number 6, the 1975 to 1980 Chevrolet Monza. GM positioned this as a sporty subcompact built on the already struggling Vega platform, a decision that compounded existing problems with entirely new ones. The base 2.3-liter four-cylinder offered 87 horsepower. Optional V8 models delivered 145 horsepower from a 5.0-liter unit, but came with a maintenance consequence that bordered on absurdity. Accessing the rear spark plugs required partially lifting or completely removing the engine. The Monza carried forward the Vegas rust problems in full. Corrosion appeared around wheel arches, door bottoms, and the rear hatch within 3 years. The fastback body's compound curves made structural rust repair disproportionately expensive. The optional T-top roof leaked water and air, creaked over road imperfections, and whistled at highway speeds, often from the moment of installation. At number 5, the Chrysler Imperial of the early 1980s. Chrysler's decision to revive the Imperial nameplate in 1981 was ambitious. The goal was to position it as a standalone luxury brand competing directly against Cadillac and Lincoln. The execution, however, told a very different story. The Imperial was built on the same K-car platform used for the economy-oriented Dodge Aries and Plymouth Reliant, a foundation that made luxury pretensions difficult to sustain regardless of how much trim was applied. Problems surfaced from the first deliveries. The digital instrument cluster, marketed as advanced technology, flickered, went dark, and required frequent replacement. The electronic voice alert system either stayed silent when warnings were warranted or triggered without any cause. Water leaks, premature paint deterioration, and inconsistent assembly quality generated widespread complaints. At a luxury price point, the Imperial was smaller than many mid-size sedans, a comparison buyers noticed immediately. Chrysler sold just 12,385 units in 1981. Production ended after 3 model years, with total sales under 16,000. Number 4 is the Cadillac DeVille. When GM redesigned the DeVille for 1985, the stated objective was to bring the brand into the modern era with a streamlined front-wheel drive platform. What arrived was a car trimmed by 2 feet and 600 pounds from its predecessor, one that shared its body and platform so visibly with the Oldsmobile 98 and Buick Electra that buyers could barely tell them apart. Paying Cadillac prices for what appeared to be a rebadged corporate product did not sit well with the brand's established customer base. The mechanical picture added more frustration. The 4.1-liter V8 was widely regarded as underpowered for a vehicle in this segment. Alternator failures were a recurring issue, as were cooling sensor and fan control module problems. The digital instrument cluster produced erratic readings that left owners uncertain whether their gauges were accurate. Power accessories cut in and out without predictable cause. At number 3, the Chrysler Fifth Avenue. This mid-1980s luxury sedan was constructed on a platform dating to 1976, the same architecture shared with the Dodge Aspen and Plymouth Volare. Padded vinyl roofs and button-tufted interiors created a convincing premium appearance, but beneath the surface, the Fifth Avenue carried all the mechanical history of its troubled ancestry. The transverse torsion bar front suspension promoted uneven wear and required frequent alignment attention. The 318 cubic inch V8 used a plastic timing chain gear that was a documented failure point, capable of causing serious engine damage without warning. The 7.25-inch rear axle was considered undersized for the vehicle and prone to failure under ordinary driving loads. Chrysler's feedback carburetor system produced rough idling, cold start difficulties, and hesitation under acceleration that were consistently difficult to diagnose and resolve permanently. Electrical faults, including intermittent brake lights and headlights that would only activate on high beam, rounded out a reliability record that stood in stark contrast to the car's upmarket presentation. 1980 to 1985 Pontiac Bonneville. The downsized Bonneville came with a range of powertrain options that collectively failed to inspire confidence. The 4.1-liter V6 was susceptible to head gasket failures that led to overheating and costly engine damage, idling roughly enough to raise long-term durability concerns from the moment of purchase. Transmission issues were a persistent theme, with torque converter failures occurring under normal operating conditions. Electrical faults, failing components, wiring problems, and dashboard irregularities kept dealership service departments occupied with complaints that were often difficult to resolve definitively. Buyers who selected the optional Oldsmobile diesel engine faced an even more severe reliability experience, with repeated failures leaving owners stranded. Carburetor problems, fuel system inconsistencies, and uneven build quality completed a picture that fell well short of what the Bonneville had come to represent. And at the very top of our list, the 1979 through 1981 Chrysler New Yorker. Built on the R-body platform, this was Chrysler's final attempt at a traditional full-size luxury sedan before the company's near-total financial collapse. The timing was catastrophic. The second oil crisis was already underway, and the New Yorker's thirsty V8 averaged around 12 miles per gallon in city driving. At precisely the moment buyers were prioritizing fuel economy, Chrysler was offering the opposite. The reliability record matched the poor timing. Vacuum-operated hidden headlights malfunctioned regularly, often remaining stuck in the open position. The early computer-controlled carburetor system, promoted as a technological advance, stranded owners with frustrating frequency. Transmission failures, electrical faults, and inconsistent assembly quality generated a wave of negative word of mouth that the market simply couldn't overlook. Sales reflected the full extent of the damage, from over 13,500 units in 1980 down to just 6,500 in 1981. The R-body platform was discontinued shortly after.